there.
So let's take a look at Rory and exactly what it is about his swing and his power that he's able to do that, because he's not a big guy.
Right. Well, look at the extension there. Now look at his shoulder turn. We looked at Yanni Sin earlier and how much more rotation she had in her upper body, but he's got it in perfect position. I mean, all the great players there, and the club face is perfect. Good hip rotation there. Look how far back. We talked about that right hip pocket turning back. He's made a great turn there. But the amazing thing is how much, look at the coil. And this is where, back again, a little bit off the ground maybe there, but not horrible. But he's got his right leg planted there perfect.
The lower body's the real key, I think, for Rory McIlroy. Not only on the way back, but on the way through. What the folks at home can really think about when they take it back is I always like to have what feels like a crease in my pocket.
Yep.
So you're getting tension along the inside of your right leg. You don't want to have your foot roll out. So he's got that crease inside his right leg, so this left hip is not coming forward. You can see the left knee is staying at the ball. A lot of people, when they try to increase their turn, they get that left knee on the inside of the left ball, and you lose the tension between the left hip and the left shoulder if you lose this too far to the inside.
Well, you talk about the crease, and you can kind of do that if you get down in your position and you can put your hand right in here. You can feel that crease. So you can feel that as you turn your right hip.
So let's go ahead and roll this, though, because I want to see, this is where he really gets the powers. Watch that lower body drive.
Okay, clears his hips. Now watch the extension right here. That's what, that's power.
Launching it a mile into the sky. Need to be able to watch Rory McIlroy, and we had Yanni Sin a little earlier. Both players extremely powerful, extremely flexible. I mean, side by side, I mean, can most mere mortals get to that position?
Well, if I got in that position, I'd be in the emergency room for one thing, and I'm 53, and I know I can't get in that position, nor can I get in that position anymore. So basically, I'm not in that position.
Just appreciate, right?
Exactly.
But what you want to see is how the lower bodies, as much as this is different on the upper bodies, the lower body action's almost identical. They're in the same similar right pocket, leaning up against that side. Both Rory and Yanni, and you'll see that the stability in the lower body is really where you generate power, and both these players below average size but above average length.
Well, and another thing is their left knee is turned in here, and their power, or they're using the base there on the right side. It's almost identical, like you said, with their lower body, and just how they rotate their hips through, and that's where you generate your power. It's the power source is your lower body, but the big difference is up at the top, and that's hurting me right now.
Take a look at his swing. He's one of the best ball strikers around there. Can you take us through our Sunday snapshot?
Yeah, and before we get into this, I have to make a disclaimer for both Chris and I that we are not instructors. We're just going to point out what we see. So for all you PGA professionals and all you instructors at home, we are not critiquing
our
anything.
Opinions.
This is what we love about Rory's swing and what you can learn at home. I mean, that's just a great, beautiful sequence. So if we go back, and what I love is the setup. It's very athletic. He's got a straight back, his bent at the waist, his knees, posture is great. The only thing I see here, and this can help you at home as well, I think his right arm is a little high, and I only know this because I do the same thing. When my right arm gets high, my shoulders point just a little bit to the left. But as you go back, and because he's a little bit high right there, I think he gets a little bit shut on the backswing. But great, great foundation, great balance, and he gets it right back on line right there. It's right on line with his arms, and his plane of his swing is fantastic. Look at the support that he's got down in his lower body. He's just building this foundation. He's using the ground so well. Look where his feet are planted.
Yeah, and then look at, this is where the power comes right here. Both his feet still on the ground. His hips are starting to clear. The club's lagging behind him, which is creating torque, which is just going to create the ball to go forever. And you just look at the extension through the ball. And still, look at his feet. Barely moving. They're on the ground. And then he comes through, swings left, and that's where the ball starts out to right. And he hits that nice high towering draw. That's where he gets his thing. It's where he gets his power and his consistency from, because that is a very repeatable golf swing right there.
And look where he's finished. On balance, facing the target.
Look at his feet.
And his feet are just firmly planted. I mean, you can't swing the club any better than that. So You know, that's what you can learn at home from that Rory McIlroy swing.
I've been speaking to you about those Instagram posts from Rory McIlroy we saw yesterday. Close-up swings of his driver in slow motion and then real time. We're going to take a look at them in a little bit more detail here. Charlie, see just where does he get his power from? Talk us through this.
Well, hey, first off, I absolutely love the golf swing. But as we look at this full speed, look at how he sort of dips down a little bit. He sort of squats and then he springs. Let's look at it a little bit slower. On the downswing, he'll actually squat down into the shot. We'll see him drop just a little bit, and then he'll spring up from the ground. That's where he gets his power. Look at the squat and then the spring up. And I got this from Sean Foley. These two are still arguing over here, by the way, folks.
Yeah,
but I got this for Sean Foley. If you take your shoes off, and he actually has his guys, it'll be all right, Carr. If you have your guys, if you have, you take your shoes off, you can feel better the squat, how you feel a little bit heavier on your downswing, and then the spring up. So by taking your shoes off and hitting some drivers like this, you can feel this sort of motion that a Rory McIlroy has. And further, that all of the TrackMan guys, all of the guys that are really into looking at what happens in the golf swing and analyzing everything, the way you're maximizing distance now is swinging up with a little bit of forward shaft lane. And if you get this sort of rise and push up from the ground, that's how you can maximize your distance. That's what Rory McIlroy does so beautifully. That's why, and he's not big. You know he's not big, but he absolutely smokes the ball. But he has mastered this sort of squat and spring up.
You know, that's actually really good advice, because I can feel how you wouldn't be able to notice the difference as much if you have your golf shoes on. But please, please, put your shoes back on.
Hungry to see some knowledge about Spieth and Rory and what they do well. A little trivia on a Tuesday morning for the viewer. Are you ready for this?
Early morning quiz.
Early morning. Who does this better? Okay? Approach shots from 75 to 100 yards. Spieth or Rory?
Spieth. My guess is Spieth.
I'm gonna go Spieth as well. I think he's good with his short irons, solid golf swing.
Did you not listen to Spieth during the offseason and say, listen, I got to work on my 60 to 140 yard shot?
Yes.
The answer is Rory. Rory better.
Really?
From 75 to 100 yards. That's what I'm told.
Okay.
Now tell us about this shot. This is a shot that bedevils the weekender, the amateur.
Well, I mean, I think obviously the biggest mistake I see with a lot of amateurs is they try to help the ball up and they let their wrists kind of go that way and they flip it up. So I think the main thing you have to do is get a little bit further back. Obviously, you're not hitting a full shot. So for me, it's a little bit further back. I choke up a little bit. Try to keep a pretty quiet lower body and just try to really just swing my arms. And then it's pretty much practice. You just have to get out there and learn the distances. So
a little weight on the left side, just a touch?
Just a teeny bit,
just a teeny bit, okay.
Teeny bit, not a real wide stance, not a normal stance.
Okay.
Because you're just kind of pitching it, and then just keeping your head down and
Oh, I like that.
going through it.
Wouldn't you like to be able to do that at home? Oh,
That was the first swing in the morning.
that wasn't bad.
What can the folks at home learn from watching Rory McIlroy drive the golf ball?
A couple great things that Rory does, and that goes through through history. Some of the great long drivers of the golf ball, the Jack Nicklauses, the Greg Normans, the Tiger Woods 2000, into Adam Scott, Rory McIlroy. They all have something very much in common, and they have a wide stance, wider than their shoulders. And what that does, it gives them great stability. They're strong guys. Gives them great stability. What that also allows them to do is get the club turned away from the ball with their upper body. They're not moving off the ball. They're keeping their head straight on top of the ball, so they have a lot of width on their backswing, getting the club turned with their chest, their back, and lower body is very stable. They have great width. They stay on top of the ball, and from there they can just turn as hard as they want to, and the club is just going to come straight back down on plane, and they follow through all the way up on their left side. No hanging back on the right, because that gets all kinds of problems. Every one of those guys did the same thing. Head on the ball, wide backswing, great stability, and turn through the ball as hard as they want to. Ball just going to go straighter and straighter.
You got me fired up. I want to see one. Aren't you fired up, Chris?
Yeah, I am.
Whoa.
They all have great balance.
This is swing one of the day, by the way, but they get nice wide stance. Wide, ball up in their stance. They turn the club with their back, and shoulders. Well, I got the ball in the club.
We're going to give you a
Barely.
mulligan. I'm authorized to give you a mulligan. We'll give you a mulligan.
Good. Now that I'm warmed up, loosened up.
First time I've ever seen you miss a fairway.
Me too.
Hey, look at that. Oh, that was terrible. Terrible.
Glad it can happen, you know?
Let me redo that. Again, wide stance, gives you nice width on the backswing, great stability, and go ahead and turn. Here we go.
That's a little better.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I think John,
57 years old. We're things are
I knew he would throw
popping
the
in my
age
back.
of his driving more than anybody else in the game. So where Jordan Spieth can dominate on the greens, Rory McIlroy can dominate from the tee box. And I'm going to use the same tip, the same words that I used for Jordan Spieth with putting. Be aggressive. Don't worry about the results. Jordan Spieth isn't worrying about blowing a putt 3 or 4 feet past. He's not worried about missing it coming back. He's trying to make the putt in front of him. Rory McIlroy, when he stands on the tee box, he doesn't care where that golf ball goes. He's being very aggressive. And the other thing that he's doing, and I really like this is a great drill for kids. You can be aggressive to the point that you can still maintain that finished position, just like holding a position with the putter. I can swing as hard as I want to swing as long as I can hold this position right here, my finished position, until that golf ball hits the ground. So if I'm over swinging and I'm a little bit like this, I'm swinging a little bit too hard. But Rory McIlroy, watch him when he plays today, when he plays this week. He's very aggressive, a lot of speed, but he can hold that finished position. That way, when you go out and play, that allows you, because nobody wants to go out and swing easy and just coast it around the golf course. You want to be aggressive, but you got to maintain your balance as well.
So no Gary player step-throughs, right? Hold the position.
Yeah, hold that finished position, but yeah, be aggressive. It'll help with your driving, and it'll also help with your putting as well.